Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party. My buddy Rhett. It is Wednesday, February 11th, 2026, 8:43 a.m. Eastern Time, and trying to do some code. For some reason, my toolbar no longer tells me the temperature, so the world's always changing. Here is a nut for Rhett. Here you go, girl. Guess she was looking forward to that. It was the almond. She loves the almonds. We're still building here. So basically, we are working on issue 22. Create a table at data identity and data entities that shows the sequence table. And I think we've ended up building like a table, yeah, app data layout component. So that's our data. Um, in some ways, I guess it will start to make sense to consider. See, we have four folders in here, folders in here. So when I hit four of anything, I always try to imagine, okay, what's going on? Um, is it time to start to break these things down? And it does seem like these three are for um, interacting direct or see with these three you can see the ThreeJS application. With this one you cannot, or ThreeJS things. This one you cannot. It's just going to be data. Right now all it is a wrapper and some text. Um, so slash data. Now I wanted it to be slash data slash entities because in the future I think um, I want um, probably different views in this data. And this data isn't really, at this point, not intended to be optimized for like user interaction. It's supposed to be more for just like debugging and stuff like that. But let's see if we can do entities. I don't think we can. I think we're going to have to entities. Right? That's how you spell that. Entities. Entities. Yeah, see, and it just, since it didn't recognize the thing, I think there's a default. Like if it doesn't recognize, I think that's how in this app routes. I think we send it up to, yeah, like if anything else, it's going to go back to the default route. All right, so what we need is something along the lines of how we have ID up there. So identities, and I guess it's going to be type. And I guess I should, maybe it's like this. Maybe I don't even want to support just going straight to data. I think maybe you have to go to. So I don't think data will work anymore. Yeah, but I think we can go. Yeah, so that's good. All right. So, and it's nice that that is here. So now the question mark is like, okay, so we have this data, right? So like, I think if I click this, yeah, we'll go back here. So this is the data if we hit F12 here that we want to show in our table. And this table, I don't know what the right word is, but basically they all have, um, they only have one thing in common, I think, and that's this type. I think everything else can be different. And so that's going to make it a table a little bit trickier. Um, now with Angular, okay, so, okay, I was about to fast forward to the next problem. So let's focus on this problem. Okay, so how do I want to get this data into the data entities table? Right, that's the next question. Is like, okay, so here we are here, and we should have a data entity. I mean, we want to show our data entities in here. In order to be able to show it, we need to get the data. So now, do we want to use a signal? I mean, I was watching the Angular live stream, and I could have sworn I heard the guy say, like, well, there was like one of the lead engineers in Angular say to only use signals if you absolutely have to. Um, for me, I guess it's a little different because I do want to feel comfortable using signals, but I know with the signals that I have to create like an effect and I have to listen to the effect. And then I guess the best thing to do would, let's look in our services, and I believe it's under utilities, and I believe it's under general. Ooh, yeah, that's good memory. All right. So in here we have this, and so we have this log sequence dictionary, and then it prints the dictionary to the, maybe we should add a publish, and then set up our signal for that, and then listen to the effect. To me, seems like going to be the simplest. Another approach we could take is to create like a RxJS observable, and and then subscribe and then publish to that. I don't know, but um, let's go ahead. I think I'm going to go with the signals. Just, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with signals. I really do think RxJS is a bit. I don't see how it's going to survive as the signals onslaught. Um, it's just like it's so hard to conceptualize. Once you get it, once you understand it, you have a pretty, like, it's fairly, it makes a lot of sense, but trying to get there is hard. And so anyway, so let's say I want to create a signal. I think I already do that in some places, right? Like I think I do that. I think routing has a signal. My route service. Yeah, to signal. So you signal in routing. And this is where I convert it to a signal. So this is probably in the easiest place. But now that I have a word that I can search on, I'm just going to search on the word signal. There we go. So here is where we're listening for a signal. And apparently there's something called a dimension change handler. So I'm guessing this is my actual, no, that gets called. This component initialized? Viswith. Okay, so viswith, and these are signals here, because that's kind of how they set things up. But do I want to do it that way? Maybe that's how I want to do it. Like push it in. I don't think so. ST publisher service. There we go. This is a good old-fashioned signal. And this thing, okay, so this is a service that does nothing but publish things. I don't know if this makes sense. Does it make sense to use this service? It almost feels right, like to have like a publisher service that just handles all publishing. You know what? Let's go down that path. So let's go back to this view, and because all this does is publish. So set it's like what I think they're IDs. Um, Visualization IDs equals signal And then I don't know what type it is. I'm just going to make it an any for now. And then for the moment, I'm just going to give it an empty object. Okay, so now what I'm trying to do is figure out, okay, so in my recyclables sequence service, okay, so it's a sequence dictionary is what I think we want to publish. Publish the sequence dictionary. Then we have to, it's got the little blue light bulb here so we can. All right, so now this will do that. And so now all we're going to have is a function that says set visualization IDs. And it's going to get this. So it's going to be a um, sequence dictionary colon sequence dictionary, and it's going to return a boolean. And then we're going to return true because it's always going to be true. And we are going to say this dot visualization IDs dot set, and I think it's as simple as that. So I think at this point this is our set. I always struggle because I kind of want to call it publish, but I guess it is called the publisher service. So this will publish to everybody who's listening, and this is a for root singleton. It is 8:55, so we'll finish up tomorrow. So basically tomorrow what's going to happen is we're going to take this and we're going to import that publisher service and then have an effect that does nothing but set the data that we're trying to make a table for. And then inside of our recyclable service, we're going to import the publish service, and we're going to set that this sequence anytime, whenever we do we're going to say publish, like log, and then print, and then we're going to have a publish sequence direct dictionary, and then we're going to put it right after this print, and then all it's going to do is set that value. And then over here, we'll do an effect, listen to it, and we'll see. That should all work. Logically, I think everything I said makes logical sense. The proof is in the pudding, the devil's in the details. There's all kinds of things we don't know, but I think it's going to work that way. I definitely feel like the analysis and the story makes sense at this point. That does not mean it's actually going to work, but the story and the analysis, I think, are all pretty solid at the moment. We'll find out. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.